Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with it. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Theft Throwaway 2 and it's titled Someone Stole From Me, 24 Female. How do I deal with the suspects? Brother, 27 male, best friend 24 male, girlfriend 23 female, housemate 28 male, and housemate's girlfriend 21 female. Whew, a lot of people. Bear with me, it's a long one. My grandfather recently passed away, and he left me and my brother a watch and a tin of cash each. We received about £750 each, and the watches are purely sentimental value. I was given the tin with the money on the Saturday afternoon and was too busy to go to the bank to deposit it, and banks are closed on Sunday. Between Saturday afternoon, 14th, and Monday morning, 16th, the cash and the tin was stolen. The tin was put in my bottom drawer on Saturday afternoon, and they were not there Monday morning. The issue is there were a large number of people who had the opportunity to take that money, and I don't know who did it. Seeing as I don't want to drag everybody onto the Jeremy Kyle show, I'm turning to Reddit for suggestions. How do I figure out who took this money? If I have to go to the police, I will, but I would really rather not, seeing as I have no evidence. The suspects are as follows. My brother, Michael, 27. He was at my house on the Saturday afternoon, as we'd both received our inheritances. We hung out for a bit, talking about my granddad. He only had 5 minutes in my bedroom alone, but I can't remember if I saw the tin after he left. I was more interested in the watch, as it had been a long day. I didn't think it'd be him, because he got his own money, but he does need money a lot more than me, as his girlfriend is pregnant. My best friend, Daniel, 24. He came over Sunday, and had plenty of opportunity throughout the day. I told him about the money, but didn't tell him that it was in my room. Daniel is wealthy as hell, and my £750 would be petty cash to him. I can't see why he would steal from me, but he would have had the best opportunity. My girlfriend, Carrie, 23. She stayed over Saturday night and was super quick to leave Sunday morning. She'd been acting a bit off at the moment, but she doesn't really get on with my housemate. I don't think she'd steal from me. I wouldn't be with her if I did, but we've only been seeing each other for a couple of months. My housemate, Kane, 28. He wasn't in the house until Sunday evening, and his girlfriend was with him, and they both vouch for each other. Kane's a bit weird and has poor boundaries, especially with Carrie, but he's generally pretty honest. If I didn't think he was a safe person to be around, I wouldn't be living with him. Kane's girlfriend, Alessa, 21. I think it's her. I don't know her at all, but she really dislikes me and Carrie. But Kane swears up and down that he and Alessa were in each other's sight the whole time, and that she isn't a thief. Alessa is also super bad with money, so if she had an extra £750 lying around, she would have had her nails done, new clothing, and things to show for it, which makes me think she might not have stolen it. Also, I have no idea how she would have known about the money or found it. I've spoken to each of the suspects. Michael and Daniel are outraged on my behalf, but have distanced themselves. Carrie is super worried that I think it was her, and is pointing the finger at Kane and Alessa. Kane seems really confused by everything and won't comment, and Alessa has accused everybody except herself and Kane. She's even suggested that there was no money, and I'm trying to cause drama. Since that Monday, it's been awful. Carrie doesn't want to see me. Daniel has been avoiding me, and Alessa has been really in my face and passive-aggressive about accusing her. Michael told me that it hurt him really badly to be accused of stealing from me. Are there any ideas or suggestions on how to figure this out before I get the police involved? And is there any point in involving the police? Ooh, an investigation story. This is a new one on me, but for me, it's just Alessa's the one that's jumping out the most and seems to be the only one who's not withdrawn from the situation. Alessa seems to be the only one who's actively accusing others and claiming there was never any money in the first place. I mean, that's all I got to go by. I guess it could be anyone but in typical Reddit fashion, and this sounds like a Brit story, and I don't think the police would do absolutely anything unless you got some sort of evidence for it. But a deleted user says, so who on the list actually knew you had the money hidden? Opie says I'm not 100% sure. Michael was there when I put the money away. Carrie knows that's where I stash things for safekeeping, just in general. Daniel also knows my habit of using bottom drawers as kind of deal with this later drawer, since we've been friends forever. I don't think Kane knows. He knew I had inherited some money from my granddad because me and Carrie were talking about my plans for the money, but he didn't know where it was. Alessa wouldn't know unless Kane told her. So Michael, Carrie and Daniel definitely knew. Kane might, Alessa most likely didn't. Lampshade says, so your main suspects are Alessa and Carrie. Wait until you're alone with Alessa/Kane and tell them that you decided to give whoever it was a chance at redemption. If you find 750 anonymously sent to your account within 2 weeks, you'll consider everyone innocent and not notify the police. Then wait until you're alone with Carrie. Tell her you decided to give whoever it was a chance at redemption. If you find £750 in a plain envelope in your mail within 2 weeks, you'll consider everyone innocent and not notify the police. Ooh. Deletes his use of reply set saying, ooh, this is some Game of Thrones shit. I love it. Great way of finding out, but OP came in with their update and says, first off, thank you for the suggestions. I went with the idea Lampshade offered. I took each person aside and told them that I was going to go to the police if the money wasn't returned. I told each person to put the money in a different spot. About £100 was returned to the spot I told Kane to use. Kane took me aside and asked me not to be too harsh on Alessa, as she is only young. I played along and agreed. Later, I sent Alessa a text and asked her if she knew that Kane was pinning the theft on her. She hit the roof. She came to the house and flipped out at Kane. Apparently, he told her that he'd seen Carrie taking it, and that everybody else was ganging up and blaming her. Kane apparently enjoys being the puppet master. I could fill a book with the lies he's been telling the lot of us. His cloud cuckoo land behavior is more or less an act. The money was just sitting in his sock drawer. Alessa tore his room apart until she found the money, which she gave back to me. Kane just likes to see people fight. I'm moving out of Kane's place and in with Daniel. Alessa has dumped Kane. I have my money back. Daniel was never that fazed, so he's forgiven me. Michael is hurt and Carrie's just relieved that I didn't really think it was her. Probably going to spend this money on fun stuff to do with Daniel, Carrie and Michael to smooth over the justifiably hurt feelings incurred. And that made me think afterwards, because OP said in the first part of it that Alessa really didn't like OP and Carrie. I wonder if that's because Kane's been telling lies in the background and twisting truths, etc, because, you know, Alessa came good in the end with returning the money, finding it, tearing the room apart and, you know, showing Kane's true colors. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Wood to the Face, who says, I, 27 female, think my boyfriend, 29 male, booby trapped our apartment. I found something and don't know how to bring it up. My boyfriend Alex and I have been together for 2 years, living together for less than 6 months. I would say that we have a fairly average relationship. We make each other really happy most of the time, but do have our ups and downs. I'm honestly so conflicted in writing this post because I feel a little insane even thinking about the possibility of him trying to hurt me intentionally. We've been fighting a lot lately because of conflicting work schedules. I'm currently in my intern year of residency, doing a night float month, so I'm at work from 8 PM to 8 AM roughly. He works during the daytime, regular hours as a CS engineer, and we haven't spent a lot of quality time together in several weeks because of the lack of overlap. I'm going to work just as he's getting home and vice versa. I've never had any issues with physical abuse from him. He's raised his voice at me on more than one occasion, but he's always apologized, and it's been during very stressful times in our lives. His dad passed away last year. Our dog was killed in an accident on the street shortly thereafter. Recently though, things have been happening in our apartment that makes me feel a little crazy. I've been getting hurt a lot, and Alex keeps reprimanding me that I need to be more careful and not be so clumsy. But honestly, it feels like it's not me, but that things are being done, moved, or placed. About 3 days ago, I came home from work and was preparing something to eat in the kitchen, right after he left for work and I was getting ready to sleep. I opened up one of our kitchen cupboards and the heavy door flew off of one of the hinges and smacked me in the head. I had a huge goose egg and giant bruise near my hairline, enough that several co-workers have asked me about what happened. I honestly think that I have a very mild concussion from it, based on my symptoms this week, but here's the thing. As I tried to put the door back together, I couldn't find the hinge or 3 screws anywhere afterwards. They should have been on the floor or the counter, and they weren't. This morning when I got home from work and I was getting ready to go to bed, I opened up Alex's underwear drawer to get a pair of socks to wear to bed. There were the screws, the hinge, and the screwdriver. Last week, I got up in the middle of my sleep schedule to use the bathroom, and I slammed my shin into the edge of our bed. There is always enough room for me to shimmy by, but later on when I looked at my bed and my leg, there were carpet marks like the bed had been shifted about 12 inches towards the wall, making my space smaller. I honestly feel insane even thinking about bringing this up with him, but I don't know what to do. Unicorn Sporked says, judging in my 10 years with a narcissistic psycho, you're not crazy. Start writing these incidents down, take pictures etc. and keep it all logged somewhere he doesn't have access, your phone, in case it escalates. Having proof will mean a huge difference if you end up having to go to the cops. Black Rose says, also taking picture records just for yourself will help you maintain your sanity. Upload them to a secure, hidden cloud account your programmer boyfriend doesn't know about. Frankly, he sounds like a fucking psycho from what you've written here. I could never forgive someone for hurting me like that. Sure, he didn't punch you, but is it really that different? He wanted a giant heavy piece of wood to fall on your face. Another commenter says, there is no good reason for those hinges and screws to be in his underwear drawer, nor for moving the bed. Something is decidedly wrong here. It's time to pay attention. 2 incidents are bad enough. You don't want to suffer another. While he's not around, take advantage. Search. Examine those things you use often for signs like these. Find anything which confirms your suspicions. Bail on this relationship. And that is absolutely terrifying. I was trying to think of a reason, any reason why the hinge screws and screwdriver would be in his sock drawer, but nothing's coming up. So these are just more than red flags now. They're proof that his behavior is dangerous. The fact that he's hiding the evidence shows he knows exactly what he's doing as well. He's willing and trying to cause you physical harm, which is absolutely terrifying. But OP comes in with an update and says, hello all. I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who messaged me with advice and input about my last post found here. Like the title states, I suspected that my boyfriend was booby-trapping our apartment for some unknown reason and gaslighting me. And I was right. 2 days after I posted, our shower head came loose and sprung off at me and smacked me in the back of the head. And due to the water pressure, I needed 8 stitches to close the wound. I texted my boyfriend about what had happened and that I needed to go into work for stitches. I'm a resident, and he was way too nonchalant. He asked if I bumped it or anything to cause it coming off. I'd had enough at that point. I wasn't going to ask him about the things that were happening. I was just going to move out/on before I ended up dead. I made a plan on that Thursday. I would have a friend come over as soon as Alex left the apartment to help me pack my things and leave. I was worried about any potential cameras he may have hidden, so I flipped the breaker and turned off the power in our apartment. About 3 hours into packing up, Alex came home. In the 6 months that we've lived together, he's never once come home for lunch, so there must have been a camera planted somewhere with an external power source. He doesn't even pretend to walk through the door. He bursts open and gets furious and asks what the fuck we are doing. Not sad, not confused, straight up angry. That was the only sign I needed. All I said was, I know about the cabinet and the bed and the dresser, you watching me and my jewelry, and it's done. We're done. He responded with a standard, you're fucking insane. You're crazy. This is insane, etc, etc. This is the point where I'm thinking, am I going to end up on a Dateline NBC episode? I yelled to my friend in the next room that she needed to call the police to come supervise while we finished packing. Alex decided to take this moment to call the police and claim that I was insane and stealing things from our apartment. 2 uniformed officers rolled up within what seemed like only a minute and came upstairs. I explained that I was moving out and there was abuse. I wasn't interested in pressing charges, but they needed to supervise and file a report for documentation. I ended up finishing up packing and then spending nearly an hour down at the police station hashing everything out with the officer who arrived first. I took personal leave from work for the second half of last week, and tomorrow is my first day back. I'm staying with a friend right now until I move in with another resident near our hospital in about 2 weeks. Overall, I'm really relieved to be out of the situation, but I'm generally still pretty afraid of Alex and anything he might try to do in the future. Out of an abundance of caution, I took both my iPhone, iPad and laptop to the Apple store and had them do hard resets and wipes, just in case he had planted anything. I'm not sure how I should be feeling right now, but I'm just going to say that anyone out there questioning whether your situation is abusive or not, go with your gut and trust your friends and family. Absolutely terrifying. I'm just so glad that OPs found out when they did and they're out of that situation and hopefully stay out of that situation. The person leaves them alone. But one of the things I also find terrifying about these situations is, that guy's still out there. He still has this kind of mindset where he's willing to do this kind of batshit crazy behavior for whatever reason it may be. And I personally just find that absolutely terrifying. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's have another story. Now, a bit of a random one from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from No Reputation 1738, and it says, Am I the arsehole for telling my girlfriend I wouldn't make her coffee anymore unless she stops micromanaging me? So, for context, I, 24 male, and my girlfriend, 23 female, have been together for about 2 years, living together for roughly 6 months. Normally we have a good routine. I wake up first, make coffee, and she wakes up to a nice hot cup. Recently though, she started getting really particular about how she wants it done. She insists on using this super specific method. Measure the grounds to the exact gram. Pre-warm the mug in the microwave for 30 seconds. Add the milk at a certain temperature, and on and on. At first I tried to oblige because hey, if she loves coffee that much, I want to make it nice for her. But it got to a point where every time I handed her a cup, she'd grill me. Did you weigh the grounds first? Did you warm the mug? Is this whole milk or 2%? If anything was off, even by a tiny bit, she'd sigh and say it wasn't as good as the right way. One morning she literally took the mug from me, dumped it down the sink, and started the process herself, while ranting that I never do it the right way. I got frustrated and told her, if you're going to be this picky, just make your own coffee. I'm done making something only to be told that it's wrong every time. She got upset and said I was overreacting, that she just wants her coffee a certain way, and that I should respect her preferences. I argued that I was respecting her preference. I just didn't appreciate the constant criticism or micromanaging. She accused me of being lazy and unaccommodating. Now I'm feeling guilty because I do want her to enjoy her morning coffee, but I'm also tired of feeling like I'm a barista under constant scrutiny. Am I the arsehole for telling her she can just handle it herself until she stops micromanaging me? Or should I just suck it up and follow her super detailed instructions? Anonymous says, not the arsehole. If I ask my boyfriend to do something for me, I accept that as a favor and I can't be picky. Like, babe, will you please help me clean out my car? It'd be really nice and a huge help. But when he does, I don't go white glove it and complain that he didn't wipe out the cup holders. He was being kind and helpful, but he's not my servant. You can't expect others to do nice things for you if you're nasty about your expectations for how they are done. It's that simple. She sounds like a piece of work. Pickle Rick replies to that, great name, says, my house rule. If you don't like the way I do things, then you get to do it yourself the way you want it. Otherwise, don't complain. Hail or Shine replies to that saying, I hate to be all Reddit about it, but it would have me examining other interactions in the relationship to see if this was working for me. Pouring a drink somebody made for you down the sink while muttering about how they didn't do it right is so incredibly rude. And I don't really believe she's only an arsehole in this one area. Like, I don't think I would ever do that to anybody unless I literally saw them pouring poison in my drink. If there was no other examples of her being this rude, then I guess the outcome would be that I would just never make her a drink. Or anything else probably. At least until she sincerely apologized, because if nothing else, she needs to learn some bloody manners. Absolutely. The Kraken says, so my husband is a little bit like your girlfriend. He has this super nice grinder and he weighs his espresso grounds to the gram, and he measures the exact pressure and writes notes in his coffee journal and blah blah. Guess what? Sometimes he totally nails it and makes a perfect cup, and sometimes it doesn't turn out quite perfect in spite of his best efforts. What I'm saying is, if your girlfriend was making her own coffee, following her own exact steps, sometimes she wouldn't be 100% happy with how it turned out, but I'll bet she wouldn't blame herself. You, on the other hand, she assumes you are just not trying. She can make her own coffee. You're not the arsehole. Mates, I've just opened up a whole new world to me. I just googled coffee journal because I've never heard of one of those before. And they're all over the place. On the journal, they got names, roasteries, grinds, origin, extras, sampled, color, additional notes. There's loads of it. So I'm going to ask you guys, if you've got your own coffee journals down in the comments as well, let me know. But what do you guys make of this situation? How would you act if you was OP? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.